Welcome back. We're back. Two fans, one Paul, myself, David Quist, lovely co-host KB Kirk Brown, and my program's pretty much dead right now. Things can change pretty quickly in a year or two, KB. We've seen that happen on the country. And another firing just happened in the last 30 minutes of us recording this, so lots to talk about. I can talk about my whole day yesterday. KB was a heck of a time, but I know you were locked in out in Phoenix watching the game, and lots of good football this weekend.
Yeah, man, always nice to come in with a win. It was a good game last night. Happy to see no real extracurriculars like there have been the last 3 years, which is always really nice for me and something we talked about on the pod. Some missed calls, some big calls that were called that were game-defining, game-changing. So, I'm excited. Michigan gets the win, 31-20 over MSU. Second half was really a rout, even though they ended up covering it. The final score, with how the second half played out, didn't even feel that close. Michigan didn't really run offense for like the last quarter and a half. They were kind of just inside zone. I think they completed one pass in the second half, and I think they only called three. And one of them, Bryce, escaped and ran. So a really impressive victory. Still a ton to clean up. Not anything but to win that comfortably, which I wasn't comfortable even when we had a 3-score lead late in the fourth. But to win that comfortably on the road against a rival that has a lot to fight for, it's good, right? So many things need to improve. I think they abandoned the passing offense way too early. But I also think that they knew that the one way that they could lose this game is if they gave MSU extra possessions by turning the ball over, and they avoided that at all costs. A quick rundown, if you will, and then we can kind of get into the nitty-gritty of the game itself. What are your thoughts? I know a very disappointing loss, and Jonathan Smith his seat might be actually on fire right now.
I would say he's all but gone. I don't know if you wait till the end of the year or the bye week. We'll have to see, obviously, with what happened today, and probably more people coming. This coaching carousel is going to be crazy. But it was buzzing in East Lansing. I mean, we got there maybe 25 minutes late, couldn't even get into our lot. The tailgate was phenomenal. We had a good little crowd. As always, you've been there. It's always a heck of a time. Stadium was packed. I would say sold out. Probably 80-20, maybe 70-30 split, but we were there and ready to go. I thought our defense played well enough to win. Obviously, you guys ran for 276, but they still played hard. Offense was sputtering. Childs was 14 for 28 with a fumble. I thought Mekhi Frazier played. He had some really big runs. I wish he was just a step faster.
Game of the year?
Yeah, I think so. 14 for 109, so he had a good average there. I just feel like I wish he was one step faster because that could have been, even a little bit more, but I guess that's just being a little greedy on my end. We targeted Marsh 13 times, so we tried getting the ball. He had 6 catches for 75. Besides that, the O-line was mediocre. Childs was mediocre, and we didn't have an answer. And we can get into in the penalty call. I think that was really, it's a game-changing play, as you said. And if anybody's a Michigan fan that disagrees, I don't know what to tell you. Even if we don't score, it's momentum, it's energy. And then you guys went down and scored a rushing touchdown, which, even either way, it's 7-point swing. And it's a hard one to swallow, knowing that I don't think we win the game. I think Michigan's the better team. But when you're a team like State that's fighting for your season, and a call like that goes against you. I thought Joe Rossi coached a heck of a game on defense. He was on the sideline. He was blitzing left and right. You could tell the guys were playing hard, and it's just some really bad penalties and some bad penalties against us that probably shouldn't have been called. So lack of discipline, plus the refs not being on your side is you're never going to win that game, especially when you're not that good of a team.
Yeah, MSU, I would say, isn't skilled enough to overcome some of those challenges, both them shooting themselves in the foot. Aiden Childs has an opportunity for a first down in the first possession of the game and fumbles it, and our guy, Jimmy Roller, who had a career day for himself, 2 fourth-down stops for him. He also had the 2-point conversion breakup, but he recovers it half a step in bounds, right? If his big toe's a little bit bigger, he might have been out of bounds, and it might have been MSU who could have looked to go for it. Yeah, so I want to get into a couple of the calls. I first want to talk about like Michigan's defensive backs played extremely well, especially Jair Hill, who was I think shadowing Marsh for the large majority of this
Should
game.
have had a pick in the first possession too.
Yeah, should have had a pick. The big penalty I'll talk about, but there was a penalty of a pass interference that you texted me, Quist, and the defensive back had a hold of the face mask of McCulley and yanked it,
Hard to
and
tell in
so
the stadium.
yeah, and so like that one, a lot of people were kind of upset about. Like, it wasn't that much contact. I mean, it should have been a 15-yard face mask penalty. I think he just called it because he couldn't see that he had his hand in his face. But when he went up for the ball, his head literally stopped. And then the one on the other side, Jair Hill, there wasn't much contact, and I think Marsh didn't see it because he went back to Childs and pointed at his eyes, did that thing. And so, like, I think if he fights for that, it probably would have been, but he didn't fight for it.
Exactly what we said. Exactly what we were saying in the stadium.
Yep. And then, so outside of that, the offsides call, I'll say it for someone that was watching the game, it kind of looked like he jumped. He was moving before the snap, but he wasn't in the neutral zone.
Perfectly timed
Even
blitz.
the commentators were like, "Oh, it looks like he jumped." And then, like, when you review it and you go to slow mo, it's like he didn't. I think as a ref, if there's any question, they usually probably throw that. But it's a huge call to miss, right? Because he was moving before the ball was snapped, but he was still behind. We saw this happen a lot when Rashawn Gary played for Michigan. Is he would time snap so good, especially the clap cadence, and he'd be moving before the ball, but he wouldn't be past or into the neutral zone, and they called it. It's a bad call, obviously, especially with what happened in the fumble and getting the ball, at the 40 and having all the momentum because you just scored. Right before that, it's a 3-point game. You have an opportunity to go and win, and that to turn into a 17-7 game for Michigan. I mean, it's backbreaking. It's I can't say it. I mean, it's one of those missed calls that's, like you said, game defining.
I texted you the game's over too. That was the game.
Yeah, and it kind of felt that way too, and I felt like a lot of the intensity in the stadium itself, the fans felt that and reacted, I would say, not as intense. And then I was just looking at the stats. MSU nearly cracked 300 yards. Like 200 of that was in the fourth quarter when the game was well decided and Michigan kind of called off the dogs a little bit, started playing a bunch of backups. So really impressive performance by the defense. I just wanted to shout that out too. But yeah, Quist, give me your thoughts on what the stadium felt like for that call too. And then there was 3 personal fouls. I don't know if we want to talk about that. I could maybe explain that to you. But I mean, it was a really intense game, and Michigan came out on top. I mean, it sucks. This would have been a huge one for you, and that would, like you said, would have flipped the momentum.
Yeah, I think there was another call too that was a slant on Marsh, and the DB was a little early. Didn't get called, and there might have been a holding too, but those are in the middle of the field. Those are hard to see. But I thought the one on Marsh on the slant was he was.
I thought he got there a step early, and sometimes people like it sucks because I've seen those calls not go every team's way, right? I think especially like we think of Lions times, it's like sometimes because Marsh I think is so strong, he didn't react as violently as maybe a guy who's smaller would react because he didn't really fling his body. He like went through, and Marsh is so strong he just kind of moved forward, so you couldn't really tell. Like I looked for, I was like, oh, maybe early, and then like in the reviews, definitely early, and another missed call for sure.
Yeah, I felt like the first quarter took a long time because I think there was a lot of incompletions, and I said one thing to a Michigan fan, and it was I just told him to fuck off. I think after our fumble, and it was almost like led to a fight, which is I'd take the blame. But if I'm at an away stadium and anybody says anything to me, it's just part of being there. That's just my opinion in the rivalry. I'm trying to think what else. Tackling was okay. Really big missed tackle, I think, on your first touchdown. It was a screen pass, and just you gotta wrap up. You have to tackle him. That's the difference between a good team and a bad team. I mean, that's the season in a nutshell. 1-on-1, you're at his legs. You got to wrap him up.
You did a great play to avoid the
right
blocker on the screen, and then you just got to finish the play.
Yeah, frustrating. But going back to your question about the stadium, yeah, I mean, we were ready to go. We were rowdy. It felt like I watched the replay back, of course, and you could see the flag was thrown, but in the stadium, you're locked into the turnover, and we all riled up and exciting, and then they talk together for another, a minute or two, and we're all like, "What the fuck happened?" And then they say offside, and we already weren't happy with the refs to start, so that just added to that. But yeah, it probably took the wind out of the sails, and then Michigan goes and scores, and to me that felt deflating, like the game was over. Just the way the offense was playing. Obviously Frazier had a heck of a game. I just don't think Childs had it. And then Alicio comes in again. I know it was garbage time, but 5 for 6 for 60 yards and a tutty to cover at the end. It's just kind of funny. But it was a great atmosphere. Michigan, I mean, everybody usually gets along. It was totally fine. But I think
there's only that one spat, and then the rest of the time is jovial enough.
Relatively, the guy had like a big Michigan sign in your face, like when he's holding it up. It's a little annoying, but I just said the one thing to him, and it was a big deal. I don't know. I get it, but at the same time, it's part of
a little soft for sure.
Sure. But I think too, to talk about is the post game presser when the refs kind of fucked you, and then your team lacked discipline, and you're just like, yeah, not good enough. I know it's not him, KB, but you need, at least Antonio had a little bit of a spark, a little bit of being pissed off, that smugness, and we just don't have it. And I just think the fans, and of course when you're not winning, you're paying a guy a lot of money, the fans want him out. I just don't think it's a fit anymore per se, and maybe we all thought it was a good fit. I wasn't too sure at the beginning, but want to give a guy a chance, and should go back and hear what I said because I really don't remember. But just unfortunately with how college football works now and how quick we all want things, it's just not going to happen. We'll see what happens if or when he gets fired, who comes in, who comes out, what coach you get, all the transfers. A lot of moving pieces could be happening in the next 6 months or so, but 3 months actually. But yeah, disappointing. Heck of a day, great day, long day. Didn't go home till 1 o'clock, but we need to get one back. That's 4 in a row for you guys. And the last time, I mean, we won in COVID. Throw it up to Ricky White, and then obviously K9 had a Heisman performance. Those are the last 2 wins we got. So sad, depressing, angry. But we kind of knew this was all the juice was with the team. You could tell the defense was playing hard, but. When you're not a good team and the refs are against you and Michigan is just going to run it down your throat, you're not going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think second half rushing wise, Michigan was maybe the best performance I've seen of them. Their O-line just said they were running a lot of whams, a lot of one man power plays, and you guys could not block it. The inside zone you guys were fine with, but as soon as Michigan started pulling people, counters. And powers and stuff, it was really impressive. And the last TD run is the guy that you guys wanted back, Nakai Hill Martinez, right?
Nakai Martinez, yeah.
Yeah, and he took a bad angle on that. The touchdown right before that Haynes had, he took a bad angle on that. I mean, he had a horrible game, especially in the run fits. And Michigan was able to figure it out. I'm still concerned about this offense, the passing concepts. I mean, there was, first off, right before the half, not even trying a Hail Mary is ridiculous, soft. He's scared. He's a scared coach. But Smaj Morgan with another drop in a ball that almost went into his face mask. It could have been caught by his helmet with how well that ball was thrown. It was fit in between 2 defenders. It would have put Michigan at the 45. Could have called a timeout. Would have had an opportunity and a shot at the end zone possibly. And that was just really, really disappointing. And then on the other end, just the route combinations in this were very, very limited. I just wasn't very impressed. Sam, friend of the pod, how many third down intense screens can we run? How many second and long screens can we run after an incomplete first pass or a bad run? Michigan's so predictable at this point in the season, I'm a little concerned. Michigan against Washington had the ball at plus territory. Play got called back for a hold. So now it's second and 20, and they run a tunnel screen. They did the same exact thing at Michigan's 40 against MSU. And it's just bad. I get third down's a very difficult play, but you can't screen as much as Michigan's doing on those downs because it's no longer a shocker. Screens are for the change-up. They can't be your fastball. They can't be the play call that gets you on third downs because most of the time MSU did a great job reading them. And then I was really surprised with how limited our tight end usage was. I thought you guys had some trouble covering tight ends so far this year, and Michigan didn't really attack that. But you can't complain about a win over a rival by two scores and in control of the game for the entirety of the second half. Can't be too upset about that. And everything that you want for your season, everything that you have is right in front of you. And you have some quality teams coming up. Northwestern's pretty dang good. Gave Nebraska a real test. And Maryland's been playing some good ball. So you have two teams left, but you have Purdue, a bye, and then those two teams before you face Ohio State. And the one away game this year against Northwestern is at Wrigley, so I'm expecting that to be mostly Michigan fans with that whole entire thing. But anything else, Quist, that you want to talk about regarding MSU before we move on?
Yeah. So after the offsides call, so we technically, if the play would have stood, we would have been on offense, right? Well, Jordan Hall gets hurt the next play or two, so that's a big, like, I guess, cascading effect of that call. And then I saw him on the last touchdown. I was watching replay back in the fourth quarter. He was like struggling to run, so probably shouldn't be on the field. And he's obviously our captain, has a green dot on his helmet, so that's a big loss. Hopefully, it's not a big injury, but just one of those weird things when something doesn't go your own way, and then a play or two later, one of your best players gets hurt. And then there was some obviously personal fouls. I know the one on the receiving corner, I understood he stood over him. That's an easy taunt. I saw some weird ones with the linemen too, where looked like our guy kind of like fell into a Michigan guy, and some people on state side on Twitter were saying that like Michigan pulled him into him. I couldn't. I'm gonna say I can see both ways, but obviously biased.
He raised his hand to the fists of justice and smacked the fuck out of a dude's arm.
It did not look like it was that big of a hit. I don't think he like swung that hard.
But it's the optics. Like, you can't do the Thor Mjolnir hammer fist and then come down on a dude. Like, it's just gonna get called, right? Like,
unless you and the rest right behind you. But and
the
then talking about late hits on quarterbacks, you guys hit Alicio late towards the end of the game too.
Yeah, that was Jayshon Barham. That was the one penalty. They yanked him down. He was there and about 3 steps late, and he yanked him. That was a bad penalty. Shouldn't have done it. 100%.
But yeah, it wasn't. There wasn't anything too bad. But it got chippy here and there. But
yeah, there's some chippiness. There wasn't anything gross or ridiculous. The one play, and thank God it was an offensive lineman, but the running back kind of took a shot at one of Michigan's defensive linemen. That one was kind of like, but it wasn't like.
I don't think he was like 100%.
100 pounds.
He just kind of nudged him and he fell over.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, especially if there was a size difference if you went after like a quarterback or something. But
frustrating. It was a good day, good atmosphere. Just that penalty really is game changing, as we've said, and I don't think it changes the outcome of the game, but it would make it. It could have been 24-21 or 17. You never know. We could have gone 3 and out, and maybe it doesn't matter. But that took the wind out of the sails for the fans, and we were definitely pretty into it. We'll keep an eye out on the coaching carousel with Smith.
You got Minnesota, Penn State, Iowa, Maryland, all teams that are over. Well, Penn State's not over 500, but we know how well they can be allegedly, theoretically. How we think in this finish? Do we get 3 wins? Do we get one more?
Yeah, I would say 3-9, 4-8. The way we're playing, Childs is a true junior. I don't know. Obviously, he doesn't like. I don't know. It's just weird. Not a lot of the guys can redshirt anymore, and it's a weird situation. I don't think the team's motivated. I don't think Smith is great at getting the guys going. So, yeah, 4-8 probably. Vegas knew something. 5.5 again this year.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. All right, moving on. In my opinion, great news. I mean, part of this is bad news.
We hate him.
But I'm so happy. Brian Kelly is looking to be fired by LSU. I don't know if it's officially signed yet, but seems like it's certainly moving in that direction.
We're having a meeting right now as we speak.
Gotcha. Yeah, sounds like his payout's $52 million if he doesn't coach next year, which is the bad part of this because that scumbag gets $52 million to sit at home because he left Notre Dame, a place where he could have been a legend, right? Could have been one of the Notre Dame great coaches. build the program there and said, you can't win national championships at Notre Dame. I came to LSU to win national championships. And his defense gets skull-fucked over the course of the last 3 years. He wins Heisman's there, but he doesn't win defensive trophies. And it's just been an absolute shit show. And one of the cool things, and I'll let you give your thoughts on this quickly, but it sounds like when Brian Kelly got to Notre Dame, the long-term strength and conditioning coach for LSU had been there for all 3 Natty championships, all the way back to Saban. He was one of the most respected guys. Fired him, told him to get the fuck out of the building, which seems very on brand for what we've heard for how Kelly treats people. And he's Texas A&M strength and conditioning coach. So that one might have been a little bit personal, and they absolutely manhandled them. The only reason why that game was even as close as it was is because of plethora of errors by Texas A&M. They might have lost that game by 70 if A&M doesn't make a bunch of mistakes in the first half. Embarrassing performance at home. The stadium was empty in the fourth quarter. Just absolutely terrific. Couldn't happen to a worse guy. Absolutely appreciate it. Quist, thoughts?
Yeah, we'd love to see some of that money come towards Grand Valley's way. Maybe we go D1 in the future, KB, since he was at GV for so long. But yeah, I think I don't know if we started the podcast or not when he got hired, but I never thought he was a fit there. It just didn't seem right to me. And all the weird accents he would do, and he was on that show on Netflix, and we've all seen how he talks to the kids, and we all know what happened at Notre Dame with one of the student workers and all that stuff. It just didn't seem like, going from Ed O, not the best coach, but he had probably one of the best teams ever, to him, it just didn't seem right. And he's kind of an asshole, and he knows how to win, but it's just different in the SEC. And if you're 5-3 and they don't see any future with you, they're going to tell you, get the fuck out. So this is just another person to add to the coaching carousel. It's a crazy year, KB. And before we went live, I was just saying Bill O'Brien might get fired. Jonathan Smith might get fired. I mean, the list probably goes on and on. And guys will probably go from mid-majors up to bigger schools. So it could be a crazy year. We're only in week 9. But yeah, I think not knowing that he's not a good fit there in year weren't being successful enough because they want to go to the Natty every year and win the SEC. It makes sense in my opinion. But crazy. I mean, Smith is, I don't know when you fire Smith or if you do it after this season. I think J-Bat is probably looking. Do you do it in the bye week? Do you wait to the end of the year? I don't know. His payout's a lot too, so I'm just always curious what ADs and high-level donors, what kind of conversations are being had behind closed doors that we don't know about. Can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted when I was taking a sip. But boosters are the people who control it, right? Ed Ogeron was allegedly banging some of the boosters' wives, and that's why he got ran out of town in LSU, right? Because they'll let you do that if you're winning, but maybe not if you're losing and you actually get caught. But yeah, I'm so happy for them. LSU, I mean, that's a high expectations job. They go through coaches like crazy. Even when you win a natty, if you aren't winning them year after year after year, there's high expectations there. But it's a hotbed for recruiting. You're probably going to have a top 3 recruiting or receiver group every single year just because of how many good receivers come out of there. So really interesting to see which way this goes for them. But super happy that Brian Kelly is maybe out of coaching for a year. I think that's better for everyone's health, everyone's safety, certainly. Extremely happy. And like you said, Quist, the coaching carousel, it's like the transfer portal and the coaching carousel are going to be the craziest time as we see coaches. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. But
I do have one more thought. I've heard Lane Kiffin's name thrown out for Florida and LSU now. I don't like that. I want him to stay at Ole Miss. I think that's the perfect fit for him. But I know Florida and LSU might do it too. They might throw him a fucking bag. I just hope I know Ole Miss is a little bit tougher of a job. Just they'll go 10-2, 11-1. I just think he's in the perfect spot in my opinion. So I hope he stays. But we'll see.
I agree 100%. That's a great take. I think sometimes, and I think we just saw this with Kelly, right? Sometimes you leave great jobs for great jobs, but you aren't going to be a legendary coach at LSU, right? You're going to be one of the guys. You're going to be one of the guys that rolls out there unless you win 3-4 natties. Florida, I mean, maybe, but they haven't, they've had an Urban Meyer run, and what have they done since Urban Meyer left, right? And then, honestly, like Ole Miss is there's so much opportunity and runway for you to be one of the best coaches ever there, right? So I hope he stays as well, Chris. That was a really, really, really good take.
I've been saying it for a long time now, but do you want to go to the A&M game since we talked about it, or do we want to talk about a great comeback in the group of five?
Great comeback in the group of five.
What a game.
I mean, were you able to watch this at the tailgate?
We did. We had it on at the end. I was dialed in for the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, South Florida was in complete control of this game, and there's that saying, right? Well, you can't just settle for field goals. You got to try to score points. If they would have just kicked the field goal when it was like 4th and 3, they were in like 25, 30-yarder, they would have possibly won this game, but we both took South Florida here. Memphis has a huge win. They're now in the top 25. They're in the shotgun for making the college football playoff as the G5 team. So don't be surprised when that happens. They have a lot of good weapons, and they were just able to find a way to win this game. I thought there was no way that they're going to win it. South Florida jumped out to an early lead. Byron Brown was dominating running the ball, and it was just an incredible, incredible comeback with some huge, massive plays for Memphis.
Yeah, 31-17 going into the fourth quarter. Then Memphis outscored them 15, 18-0, I think, in the fourth quarter. And yeah, that last drive where they were just kind of pick them apart, and then a touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion. USF had a little bit of time at the end, but not enough, and just a tremendous game. I mean, I know it's not the best product per se, KB, but this is why I love college football. Get a big comeback in a game that has high stakes in the middle of the season, and great. I'm not a big fan of the gray look with Memphis, but that's me being nitpicky. But a heck of a game. These teams are pretty decent. I don't know how they can compare to the high level teams, but you play. It's why you play the game. So see what happens as the group of five teams kind of keep going on. But heck of a win by Memphis. They earned it. And USF, as much as I like their coach, he's on my short list for state in the future. Gotta find ways to finish games and keep the clock moving. Defense has got to step up and make plays. But Memphis at home finds a way at the end. That last drive was really nice to get that go ahead touchdown and that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, USF. I mean, they had a drive. They had an opportunity. Grammatica's son, right? He had an opportunity for a 50-plus yarder and just missed it. Byron Brown had 269, a touchdown, but he had 121 yards on the ground. Really impressive performance by him. And then Brendan Lewis had 300-plus, 3 touchdowns in this game. Former Colorado quarterback, then was at Nevada the last 2 years and transfers there and is absolutely ripping. So really impressive from him, but awesome win for Memphis. Like I said, they're in the driver's seat. They have 4-4 Rice. They have 6-1 Tulane, which is a really, really big game because Tulane's really good. And then they have East Carolina and then undefeated Navy to end the season. So this is going to be a really, really important stretch. I mean, there's some. I know it's G5, and maybe one day we'll see G5 beat one of the Power Fours in the playoffs. Is it this year? Who knows? Is it going to get removed? Who knows? Or the FBS? Is it going to split again with the G5 teams just because of the funding discrepancies? Who knows?
Does Navy get in if they go undefeated?
Does Navy go in if they get undefeated?
That'd be sick.
Because if
triple
Memphis
option.
Because Memphis is in the top.
They're probably ranked right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be. Yeah, they're just in the top 25, and if they're undefeated going into that, they might both be ranked. And then Navy might be ranked, then have a bye week, then have to play the Navy-Army game after playing in the American Championship. I mean, just it's hilarity can ensue.
Navy has Notre Dame, South Florida, Memphis, Army. So they have a tough 3 games. Actually, scratch that. They have at North Texas, at Notre Dame, South Florida, Memphis. So they might, and then Army.
They might lose 4 straight.
They might lose those 4 straight, and then hopefully get Army and go 8-4. But yeah, that's if they make it out of that alive, good luck because North Texas is slinging the ball around too.
Yes, they are. All right. Next, we got Missouri at Vandy was the next game we previewed. We both picked Vandy. This was a back-and-forth game, and Bo Perbula, his ankle most likely was detached from his body.
Like I saw the guy was just holding his leg, and then they bent him backwards, and I knew he probably got hurt. I just saw the still image. Someone was talking smack about that D lineman, how he was just I mean, it's 4th and goal, or it's short.
It's 4th and goal on the 2-yard line.
That's what a guy's gonna do, and unfortunately got bent backwards. It's a bummer. It's probably a dislocation and a break.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely ankle, lower leg, we think, maybe even a broken leg. But that was a really it just sucks when you have a player like that, especially Bo. Left Penn State in the midst of the playoffs last year. Maybe some opportunities Penn State maybe wanted him in some of those games that they were playing, and at the end of the day, what it comes down to is he's leading this Missouri team. They're in a really good position. Missouri got stopped on a bunch of like fourth and shorts in this game, which is really the defining characteristic, and
Great
he
defensive
gets
game.
stopped. Yeah, Matt Zollers came in though and played a
Played
pretty
well.
damn good game. I mean, 14 of 23, maybe not the most, but he's a true freshman, thrust into action. He had 138 yards and he had a touchdown here. So I mean, really really impressive. Kevin Coleman had 100 yards. And then I was really impressed with how Missouri played. I mean, those defensive ends are just game ruiners for them. They are
Zion Young.
so good. Pavia was 10 of 19, 129 yards and a pick. He had 8 carries for 20 yards. Obviously, he had a bunch of sacks in this game. They had 2, but he was running for his life. Had to throw the ball away a bunch, but he was under pressure. It was a really impressive game. And Vandy wins a big one. I mean, there's some games left on this Vandy schedule here, but they have Texas, which is going to be a really cool game next week. Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, and then obviously the end of game with Tennessee. If they go into that Tennessee game without another loss, there's a huge opportunity. And if they do drop one going into that, that could be a playoff spot, a pre-playoff
Rival.
game, basically, that last week of the season, a rivalry, Tennessee versus Vandy. So awesome for them, awesome for Pavia. And this defense is really, really sound, man. I'm really impressed with how they've been playing.
Yeah, definitely a defensive game. When I was watching highlights back, it was nothing pretty, honestly. It seemed like the stadium atmosphere was pretty great there, which is cool because this is a program that is not used to winning. So you'd love to see that. And like I said in the preview, KB, I love the coach too. I can't remember his name right now, but I think he played there.
Mark Lee.
Yeah, I think he was like a linebacker there or something. So he's a Vandy guy through and through. And Diego does enough with the rushing touchdown. Really leaning on the defense. Great defensive game. I love Mizzou. Always liked them since the Chase Daniel days with the Big 12. And, they're rough and tumble with Drinkowitz. There was one play. What was it? I think it was a fumble, but the guy was easily down on the goal line. He wasn't too happy, but he was definitely like on his back on the ground, and they reversed the call. But heck of a game. Great defense. This is the SEC showing its depth because these are teams that used to not be so great that are, rising to the top.
Yeah, and obviously there's aspects to that, right? It's how you are coming in preseason and the talent definitely acquired because there's some really good skill players in this game. The next game, and in celebration, the game that got Kelly fired. So thank you, Jeff, your Texas A&M Aggies, getting that guy out. But I'm just going to read a few stats. This was a very dominant performance. A&M had 2 turnovers to LSU's 0 turnovers. So, some loose ball play by Marcel Reed, 2 picks. One of them was at least one was in the end zone. I don't know if the second one was. I can't remember. But A&M was 7 of 10 on third down. Oof. They had 24 first downs. They had 426 yards and ran for 224. Now, on the flip side of that, LSU was 2 of 13 on third down. A&M is one of the best third down teams in the country. If you get third in anything +2, you are not getting it. I think that they've let up, Jeff was telling me that they let up like 10 first downs on third down in SEC play right now, which is just
dialed
crazy. But yeah, this was a really impressive performance. Some special teams miscues. There was a block punt for a safety in this game, which gives you the weird score.
And then a punt return.
That and the two punt return.
They're really good.
If you didn't have that, I mean, this could have been even worse. They might have. I'm sad they didn't get the 50 burger. They should have gone for 2 there at the end. But really impressive performance, and they absolutely dominated this game. It's just really impressive, really impressive. In the second half, they went touchdown, 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 3-and-out punt, touchdown in the second half. So really, really impressive by them. And Marcel Reed, I know it wasn't the best game, but he had 100 on the ground, I believe, in this game too.
Yeah, 108,
and 2 touchdowns. Four touchdowns on the season. Is he our Heisman front runner on the undefeated team? Him and Mendoza. He has 1,900 yards passing, 17 TDs, 6 interceptions, and he also has 349 and 6 touchdowns on the ground. So he's maybe tickling around 3,000 yards by the end of the season, another 800 rushing, and most likely we're looking at probably 40 combined touchdowns. Really, really impressive.
Yeah, that long run he had to score was pretty great. No one, I think it might have been like man to man because no spy, no nothing. He was gone. Concepcion, he's the receiver. He had a receiving touchdown and a really good punt return, and I think he took another punt return pretty far. So that is just backbreaking as a team when you get a stop and then punt return. It's electric too, and I know they're away, but really gives you a lot of momentum in my opinion for a punt return. LSU's defense has been bad since they've got Kelly KB too. It just seems like it's been an ongoing problem with them. And then I know they're a good receiving team, but man, they got to run the ball. 27 carries for 60 yards. Shout out to A&M's defense as being stingy as hell. We've kind of known that since Elko came there, but
well, you do have to have an asterisk on that because Garrett Nussmeier had negative 44 rushing yards
so they had 100.
Game. Yeah, so they were around 100. You got to minus some of those carries, but they had 7 sacks.
Sheesh.
I told you guys look out for Cassius Howell. He had 2 more sacks in this game. That was just really impressive. When you have 7 sacks and this team just can't do anything, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier was running for his life. They just weren't able to move the ball consistently with all those negatives. And the leading carrier on the team, right, was Harlem Berry with 9. He had 9 carries in this game. And you look at, they ran 27 runs, but just they couldn't get anything. You minus Nussmeier's out there. That's 21 runs in a game that they were leading at the half. They had 21 runs in a game that they were leading at the half. Just inexplicable. But at the end of the day, I'm happy because fuck Brian Kelly.
Yeah, like this A&M team, they also have a shit ton of money, and they always have tripped up at games like this. We've always talked about that, KB. So A&M has at Mizzou. That's a game that can bite you. I think Mizzou is going to be coming out hungry, even with that backup quarterback. He's pretty good. I'm not sure.
It's coming off a bye, though.
Off a bye. Okay, that's fair enough. Then they have South Carolina, the week game, Samford, and then obviously at Texas to end the year. I remember talking to Jeff last year. I think he went to the game. It was at A&M, and it was filling up, and it was rowdy, and because they haven't played in, I don't even know how long it was, KB, like probably 11 years or something like that. It's a lot of anticipation last year, and I think Texas won, but that could be a massive game, even if they trip up once here against like Mizzou or even a decent South Carolina team that's been struggling, almost beat Bama. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Texas coming back down 38-21 in the fourth quarter.
Brandon Walker was literally right there. Rest in peace, brother.
Right there. Yeah. And that's just like kind of the story of what Mississippi State had. I mean, Arch got injured in this game. He left it in overtime. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But they ended up scoring after he left. So maybe their offense might be better. We'll see. We'll see. No clue. I can quickly
I'm going to look at it.
It's a very like
Matt Caldwell.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it was like the second whitest name I've ever heard.
Texas also, I know I talk about them, but they have kind of a murderer's row. Vandy at Georgia, Arkansas, who's played everybody tough relatively, and then home against A&M. So, 3 top 10 games right now. Brutal.
Absolutely. All right, Wes. Anything else that you want to talk about?
No. Keep an eye out on State. I don't really know. I think the season's pretty much over. Unless we pull some shit out of our ass out of fucking nowhere. So I think if we do fire during the season, it will be during the bye week. That's my only guess, and I would probably put Hawkins up there, or even Rossi, the way he coached this game. Shout out to the guys going on defense, playing their asses off. The Zebras got us a little bit, but Michigan, fair enough, ran it down. Like I said, KB run it down our throats, and they blitzed, and they were aggressive, and my game plan was spot on. We did our best, but don't got it. So keep an eye out on State. Kind of curious to see what happens in the upcoming weeks, as things are very frustrating. But as always, a great time in East Lansing with everybody, and forever and always, it's Go Green.
Yeah, and they're going to be at Minnesota for their next game. So does that leave them at the tarmac, depending on how that game unfolds? Certainly a question mark there. And then is your last game of the year Maryland at Ford Field?
Yeah, I might sell my tickets, honestly.
Yeah, so you only have one home game left, a neutral site, obviously in Detroit, and then 2 away games. So huge opportunity here. Hopefully, you guys can turn it around. Still, all things considered, you have enough games left. You can make the bowl game, make the bowl season. Just got to win some games and play much better football, and maybe that comes after you fire the coach and you have a bye week to adjust and make some changes to fight down the stretch here. But that's 5 in a row for you, Quest. 2 in a row for me, and Michigan's entering into a little easier stretch of the schedule. So all things considered, I'm really excited with the way Michigan played defensively. Still a lot to want from the Michigan offense. State has led up over 38 points to every Power 4 team they played this season outside of Michigan. So that was kind of a cause for concern. But also Michigan didn't run offense for way too much of that game, where they were just satisfied with running the ball up the middle. With all that said, another win is a win, and there's still the rest of the season, so excited. Go Blue!